This is A's Cast Live, your comprehensive look at the Oakland Athletics.
And the pitch is swung on, hit the right field, hit deep. Whitefield going back at the track, over his head, and over the wall. Do you believe that?
And 29 other MLB clubs.
Ramirez with a drive to deep right, away back, goal!
Hey, hits a bomb out there by the Rocks. And boy, oh boy, this third inning is now showtime.
It is a Judgian blast. All rise. Here comes the judge.
Join us as we take you inside the baseball universe, from humidors to spin rates to game-changing moments. We have you covered. Spend your afternoon with us next from the town, only on A's Cast Live. Here's Chris Townsend.
Well, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to a Friday edition of A's Cast Live as we're getting you ready for the A's and the Rays and a full slate of baseball on a Friday. And this is going to be fun. You all right? You all right, big fella, to start a Friday?
Yeah, there's volume coming through that iPad. Let me fix that.
I'm going to allow you to fix that as I will talk about my beautiful Masters shirt while you are fixing our audio issue. Yes, it is a Masters week. They're back playing at Augusta. I had a little issue with weathers, but I wore the Masters green today for you. What's great about the Masters stuff, you have to go to the Masters actually to buy this stuff, and I was lucky to go last year. It was a really special trip, so the rest of the week, you'll be seeing Masters stuff. As you'll see, I did my hit for NBC today. I'll be doing a hit on Easter Sunday, Masters Sunday. So we got the Masters gear on today. Paul Hembekides from ESPN will join us at 1:30. He's making the rounds today. Was it today he was on Good Morning America?
It was. Here, let me he sent me a picture. Let me share it. Oh, there's Hembo on Good Morning America.
Let me see.
Him and Greeny. I tried to make the picture where it fit better, but that's the best I could do. So there's one, and then there's Hembo again.
They got their new book. I'm telling you, I'm sure there's been people when we have brought Hembo on, and if you're not really into if you're not a hardcore baseball, like you're not grinding Buster Olney's podcast every day, if you're not getting up early, because he does the ESPN morning show Get Up, but obviously that's really early here out west. Paul Hembekides is a big deal. So when we bring him on, we're lucky to have him. So if you've always been like, who's this guy they call Hembo? There's pictures of him on Good Morning America. Kind of a highly watched show still on television.
Yeah, at Paul Hembo on Twitter if you want to follow him. Good follow. Tweets a lot about Philadelphia sports, but
he does all the stats for these two little shows you might have heard of. Monday Night Football. All the stuff they're using on Monday Night Football, it's from him.
Sunday Night Baseball too, right?
What?
Oh, sorry.
You love jumping the gun.
I like burying.
You're like that. Yes, Sunday Night Baseball. Hembo does all the stats for that. Plus, he's on Get Up. They have a new book. We're always lucky to have Hembo and establish that relationship where we found Hembo on Buster Olney's podcast, Baseball Tonight.
Yeah, same with Sarah Langs, not two of our best friends of the program.
Cody is not wearing Masters. He still has Link Soul on. Do we have our new Link Soul graphic that will be up today?
Yes, it'll be up when we have guests on because I can't do it with the.
I love it. Remember, Link Soul, you want great clothing? Our sponsor, linksoul.com. That's linksoul.com. Whether you want to look good golfing, going to dinner, you name it. I mean, they even for the casual, hoodies, T-shirts, outstanding. Also going to join us today, we are going to have former Athletic, now doing television and radio for the Rays. Matt Joyce will be here. Mark Kotze will not be here, and that's on us.
Well, actually, he is here. Mark Kotze, the Mandalorian bobblehead here, so you can take although in the Mandalorian, you're not supposed to take your helmet off. So we'll leave the helmet on, Mando. It's part of the creed, the Mandalorian creed. This is the way.
They can never take it off?
No.
Like ever?
You're not supposed to, no.
Like
no one's supposed to see your face.
They don't shower. They shower with it on?
Star Wars, they don't take showers. They don't eat either.
With the person, they still have to have the Mandalorian on?
Yeah, it's from what I know. There's ones that take it off, but they can't ever get back. You have to like bathe yourselves in the waters on Mandalore, and that's what Finn Djarin did. The guy to play as the Mandalorian.
So if I want to create a child, I still have to have my helmet on, is what I'm getting at?
Yes. So Mark Kotze Mandalorian, I have the full screen going. Mark Kotze Mandalorian bobblehead is Thursday, May 4th with the purchase of a special theme night ticket.
I've never seen that.
Thursday, May 4th, 12:37 p.m. It's actually fitting. They're doing a bunch of Star Wars stuff on social media today, announcing new shows and stuff. So we got Kotze as Mandalorian and Shohei Ohtani as Obi-Wan Kenobi, or as a Jedi.
You know, when I played against Mark Kotze in college, he had hair.
The beard probably wasn't as gray.
He wasn't gray, and he had hair when I played against Mark Kotze, and he was at Cal State Fullerton.
But yeah, we're giving that away May 4th. Fitting. May the 4th be with you.
You can never take the helmet off.
No, you have to watch the show. It's pretty good.
That's a ridiculous rule.
It's television.
It's not television. It's streaming.
Well, it's sure it is Disney Plus.
That is ridiculous.
If you have a problem, take it up with Jon Favreau, the creator of The Mandalorian.
So I screwed up, and Kotze told me on the field on earlier this week. At what point? Whether it be Wednesday?
No, Tuesday.
He told me noon. And I went, yeah, that works great for us. Not putting together that noon in Tampa is 9 a.m. our time. And so when I got the text from Mark Kotze today saying, where are you guys? And I was getting stretched out at the old stretch lab. Our bus. So Mark Kotze will join us on Monday from Baltimore, which, let's face it, this series right here, you want to talk about a series for the season? It's real interesting, man, because you're going up against a red-hot Rays team. Just not the fact that they've won 6 in a row to start the season. They're not the first team to do that. They're not going to be the last. That's not a big deal. It's nice. Everybody's going to have streaks, right? You're going to lose 6 in a row at some point, or 4 in a row, win 6, win 4, win 8. You're going to have streaks, right? It's the roller coaster ride.
Hell, the Phillies started 0-4.
And they had that must-win. You said it was a must-win, and they got that must-win.
That was a big win. Then they lost the next day.
All 6 of Tampa's wins have been by 4 or more runs. That's the second longest streak of 4+ run wins to start a season. Can you name, Cody? I want you to go through your encyclopedia of a brain, everything you know about baseball. I think we got you stumped here. Can you name the other team? I don't think you can. Now, I'm not going to bet you on this, but I don't think you can name the other team in the history of baseball that had 4 or more run wins to start a season, go 6-0. So you're basically beating up on every team, right? You have 6 wins, you won by 4. What's their run differential? I didn't even check. It's got to be insane to start the season. Everybody you beat, every game you beat them by 4 runs or more?
Yeah, well, they played Detroit and the Nationals to start the year. Let me see who has their run differential. It is
anybody would have it. Plus 31.
Okay, yeah. Is that what it is? Yeah, plus 20. Yeah, plus 31. It's pretty good.
What are we? We're already at minus what?
I knew after the first couple.
We were minus 17, and then we lost. We're probably like minus 18.
Yeah, Rays plus 31. The Oakland Athletics right now are only minus 19.
Minus 19.
Is that the worst? Hold on. It's
so
not the worst in baseball.
So minus 19, and with the Rays plus 31.
Yep.
Do you realize plus 31 versus minus 19, what we're looking at going into this game? Now, I know people are going to say, because Johnny did this to me yesterday or 2 days ago and posted, well, it's that one game where they lost 13-1. Well, then they also lost 6-0. But then again, that's how you end up having a minus 100 or 200 run differential at the end of the year. You start off being minus 19.
The only team's worse right now currently. You got the Philadelphia Phillies at minus 23. Detroit is at minus 23. Phillies at minus 24. Detroit minus 23. The Nationals minus 22, and that's it. So that's where we stand right now. The next closest would be a couple teams at minus 15.
You still haven't answered the question: who is the team that the Rays are chasing for the all-time record?
I'll go with
because wait a minute. This team won their first 13 games. They went 13-0, and every game they won by 4 or more.
I'm going to go with the 1914 Boston Braves.
That's not correct.
I don't know.
The we told you this already.
What?
The 1884.
Oh, no, I was playing into the bit like I didn't know.
Okay. That's why I wouldn't bet him. 1884 St. Louis Maroons.
Should we look up their roster and see who was on that team?
Who was on the 1884 St. Louis Maroons?
1884. Oh, boy. They went 19. Here's what their record was. 94-19-1. They had 2 managers who won, wait for it, 28-3.
They lost only 19 games.
Yeah. Ted Sullivan was 28-3. Then Fred Dunlap came and went 66-16 and won. I don't know why they had 2 managers, but
I'd probably say health reasons.
maybe. Yeah, I don't think. Was there a war?
I don't think they were getting fired.
Was there a war then?
I don't know. Maybe he got a better job. So it was a different pay scale back in the day.
Their war leader was, I love how for catcher says George Baker ? I don't know what that means. Their war leader was Fred Dunlap, who, wait for it, was a player manager. 7.8 WAR that year.
I got to tell you, it's a strong mustache team back in 1884.
It's been so long they don't even have RBIs listed, but they do have home runs, and it was Fred Dunlap hit 13 home runs to lead the team.
We didn't keep track of RBIs, stolen bases, or caught stealing, or strikeouts.
They did have walks. He also scored an incredible. We talk about what Marcus Semien did a few years ago at the A's. Fred Dunlap scored 160 runs that year. Is that any good?
So the Rays are outscoring their opponents 44-13. The last team to begin the season 7-0 was the 2016 Orioles. Would that be a Buck Showalter-led Oriole team?
With Manny Machado, yeah.
So you're going in to a series against a team that's absolutely red hot. It kind of reminds you of last year, doesn't it? The Rays were picked to be one of the better teams in baseball. The A's lost 2 out of 3 to start the season in Philadelphia because of the lockout. Actually, Christian Pache would play really well. And all of a sudden, everybody started talking about Christian Pache like, oh, my God, we got the future, right?
I haven't been following to see what he's done with the Phillies. I know he started on Sunday Night Baseball and didn't get a hit.
And the A's would take 3 out of 4 from Tampa. And that's where I started the mantra, why not us?
Yeah, they were 10-9.
Why not us?
10-9 after 19 games. By the way, Pache 0 for 6 on the year already.
Shocker.
Then that why not us kind of
why not us?
Kind of faded kind of quick.
Why not us? We go into Tampa and take 2 out of 3. Why not us? God, to tell you that loss on Wednesday for the day game in extra innings, if they could have won that game after the Jesus Aguilar home run,
great at bat,
which was incredible. We haven't seen an at bat like that since Jesus Aguilar in 2018.
Yeah,
13 pitch at bat when he did it then. You would have been 500 going into this. This road trip is really key for the start of this season. And I'm not going to be Captain Obvious. Wow, look at the record. It really is key because this is the first time this group of men are traveling together. You know, everything has been spring training. What happens in spring training? Well, everybody goes to Arizona. You know, some of these guys have wives. Some of these guys have kids, girlfriends. Some guys live in Arizona. So you're not really bonding and hanging out all that much, right? Season starts, you guys all come to Oakland. Guys are, majority of our guys are, I bet everybody was looking for a new place to live. I know Nick Allen's in a different place than he was last year. I didn't ask Seth Brown about that, but we don't have very many holdovers. I'm sure all the guys, like even Waldachuk and Sears, were living out of a hotel last year. Like Muller and Langoliers are living together. So these guys probably all have new places, new roommates. Guys who are married, got to find a place for your family. So they haven't had time just to be A's players and hanging out. And if you got to, I talked about this on the post-game show, the clubhouse show with Johnny D that I did with him after the day game, but we did a thing on it. I wanted to ask Stu, as I did the TV, NBC Sports California, with the A's legend, A's Hall of Famer, Dave Stewart. I said, what would you do as a leader? Because Stu was an absolute leader, right? I mean, Stu was the leader of that crew. Stu told the story that what he would do is he'd tell everybody on the first road trip, he'd say, bags are going to your room. You don't need to worry about it. This is the big leagues. Everybody into the hotel bar. 2-drink minimum. Whether you drink alcohol or not, you got to stay for at least 2 drinks. And it's funny, he said, even if you drink milk, you got to stay there for 2 drinks, which I doubt not. Well, I guarantee you he was softening the story. But he tells a story that they would sit there and he'd start ordering food, right? Start getting, I don't know, whatever, pizza, wings, whatever stuff they added there at the bar. And it gets guys talking. It gets guys hanging out. And next thing you know, they close the bar down. Last call. 2-drink minimum. Let's hang out together. Everybody talk. And what happens? They all sat there. And what happens for hours, as we all know, as everybody starts getting a little liquored up, everybody starts opening up, everybody starts talking. Well, now you've been in there for 4 or 5 hours. Not one guy left. Everybody stayed there, and it's great bonding. This is the first bonding trip. I asked Mark Kotze, as he was, I can't tell you what he was texting me when we weren't responding at 9 a.m. to where the hell are we? I did ask him, did you guys do anything? He said, the guys got together, but they didn't do an official thing as a team. But they will. I think they may do it in Baltimore. But that's the thing about that first trip. This is a bond, and this is just not for the A's. This is for a lot of teams, right? Even if you look at the most veteran team, they added players. And you want to welcome these young players or these new players onto the squad. You know, I saw this video last night. I don't even know why they were playing. It was CC Sabathia. They were just going through his career. There's no question he's a Hall of Famer.
I don't disagree.
Like, seriously.
I think just that magical run he had with the Brewers where he started every third day puts him in the Hall of Fame.
He was dominant with Cleveland.
He was.
Cy Young Award winner.
He came up when he was like 19 or 20. He
was dominant. Him and Cliff Lee was dominant. So I was just watching that. And, you know, he's Bay Area guy, Vallejo. So, yeah, I'm without a doubt CC. But CC talked about going to the Yankees when he signed as a free agent. And there was that learning process. So even with a star player coming in, it's good to have these type of things where everybody gets together, put your guard down, learn each other. And let's face it, some of these guys have competed against each other. You don't know who hasn't liked who, right?
Yeah.
Like, you don't know that if a player comes in inside the clubhouse, there's other guys going, we can't stand that guy. I mean, like, let's just say Manny Machado signed with the A's and all the old A's players were still here. There would be some beef, right? And that's a good thing. That would be a good way to take down the curtain, take down people's walls, have a couple drinks, everybody hang out, get to know each other. So that's so as important as is just for the record, as you're going to take on a good Tampa team, you're going to be taking on a good Baltimore team. And they've gotten much better. Ever since, for some reason, they moved the wall back, they got better at home. This is important for this club. Not only record, but just, you know, to figure out who you are. So when you do come back, I mean, you come back, you got the Mets, right?
Yeah.
Mets and Cubs?
Mets and Cubs, yeah.
I mean, this first part of the season is not easy. You're playing a lot of potential playoff teams right out of the gate. Angels, because you always pick them to win.
Kobe Showatona's last home opener for the Angels tonight.
Ooh.
Yeah, I said it.
Ooh.
I'm going on a limb there.
Are you gonna be shocked if he re-signs?
Actually, yes.
Really?
I think that well, we don't have to get into it. I still think it's the Dodgers. They didn't spend any money this last offseason. I think they're just gearing up to lure him to Hollywood.
Well, you can pretty much take out 90-something% of all teams.
Yeah, he did because
he's not signing in the Midwest.
No, and he's not going to.
He's not signing in the Northeast or no, excuse me, the North Midwest, not Southwest. He's not going to Texas. He's not going to the Astros. He's not going to the Royals. He's not going to the Twins.
Not going to the Cardinals.
The Chicago teams, no. He's going to be on a coast, and it basically is like Dodgers, Yankees, Mets.
And I think the sleeper is Seattle.
Seattle, Japanese,
Ichiro.
Asian population, yeah.
Ichiro there.
He was just up there. Did you see the respect he showed each? Well, that's to us. We go, wow, that's respect. To them, that's their culture.
Yeah, they do, and they do it every time, and it's awesome to see it because
they bow. He bowed to Ichiro. Ichiro's his elder. You don't bow to me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're not a future Hall of Famer. Well, actually, you are in a Bay Area Radio Hall. Could be a Bay Area Radio Hall.
I'm not in radio. I'm a streamer.
Well, I was going to nominate you for the Bay Area Radio Hall of Fame, then I missed the deadline.
Thanks.
Next year.
I don't think he's going to Boston.
I don't know. I don't know. Yoshida's there, and they played together in the WBC.
You want to maximize your value as a Japanese international superstar. You're not going to Boston.
No, I think it's like
it's New York or LA.
Yeah, and then again, if
Tampa, you think he goes to Tampa?
Hey, they're spending money now. They signed They gave Zach Eflin, who's starting tonight for Tampa against the A's, the largest free agent contract in history. It was 3 years for $40 million. 3 years, $40 million. He's pitching well this year. I mean,
yeah, they've changed him. By the way, we can get into that a little bit later. But you got me off. Where was I going before you went Ohtani? Switching teams.
Where were we? What were we talking about? Big road trip.
Oh, so you're facing some people.
Playoff teams. Yeah.
Some people think the Angels can be. Obviously, the Guardians.
Yeah.
I mean, they will probably be in it unless something dramatically happens. Now you got Tampa. They're probably going to be in it. Baltimore. They're no slouch anymore. They're not a slouch. They're going to have a puncher's chance. New York expects to be there. So you got all these teams. You're playing right out of the gate with a ton of talent. You're going to find out exactly who you are. But no matter what the record is, you're then going to have a whole nother first part of the season where you're then going to have, if you do struggle, as I'm going to bring up the schedule, you do have a lot of winnable games. And that's why bonding now, coming together now, is so key, because you're going to have a chance to take the Cubs at home. You're going to have a chance to take the Cincinnati Reds at home, right? Texas Rangers. Oh, they got out to a hot start. Bruce Bochy. It's what wasn't that one of our big overreaction first week?
Bochy still has the magic touch.
Oh, first weekend.
Yeah.
Magic touch but what's their record now?
I don't think Texas is actually leading the AL West at 4-2.
Yeah, they got out to a hot start. We'll see. I'll bring up the standings here real quick. Yeah, 4-2. So you got the Angels 4-2. You got Texas 4-2. Ooh, our buddy Jeff Blum said the Astros could struggle early. Get them early. Might just be the truth. And how about the Mariners starting out 2-5?
It's early.
It's early.
Yeah,
it's early. The fun differential's not there?
I don't think so yet. I mean, they had a lot of people at their ballpark the first weekend against Cleveland. They're playing tonight in Cleveland. Start here at home against Cleveland. Next week they're playing in Cleveland, and then they're done with Cleveland for the year. So get the Guardians out of the way. There's a stat about the Rays too. 6 of the Rays' first 32 games this year are against teams with a winning record from last year. 6 of 32. So the Rays can beef up their record the first 32 games.
Well, obviously we're 3 of the only 6
of the Rays' first 32 games are against teams with winning records.
Yeah.
With a winning record from last year. I haven't looked at their schedule, but they started out against Detroit, then they played the Nationals, and now they're playing the A's, and I don't know who they play next. But they're the 10th team in the wild card era to start a season with 6 consecutive wins. Of the previous 9 teams, 7 made the postseason, but only 1 won the World Series. The 2015 Kansas City Royals.
So you're saying there is absolutely no correlation to starting out undefeated and winning the whole thing?
Only one team did it. 2 teams missed the playoffs. Started out undefeated.
Who missed the playoffs after starting out undefeated?
That'd be the year 2015 Detroit Tigers. They end up being 13 games under 500.
Well, that was the end of their run.
Yes.
Because remember, we faced them in the playoffs 12-13.
They're in it 14. They're like the Angels. They've made it since 2014. The other team
start getting old and expensive. The
other team was the 03 Royals.
They tore old Space Mountain down.
The 03 Royals won 83 and 79 and didn't make it.
The 03 Royals?
Yeah, that was Tony Pena was the manager, I want to say.
The 03.
Angel Barreau was one of their players. I think Greinke was there.
No Bo Jackson.
That team, there was a lot of young guys on.
No old George Brett. 03. He was on the 03. Is that Beltran and Jermaine Dye and those guys?
Tony Pena was the manager, so they had
Jermaine Dye wasn't yet with the
Angel Barreau, Joe Randa, Raul Banez, Carlos Beltran, Mike Sweeney.
Oh, wait a minute. What year did Jermaine Dye go to the A's?
That would have been
02?
Oh,
did he show up in 02? No,
he wasn't. He was already on the Moneyball team, wasn't he?
Huh?
Was he on the Moneyball team?
No.
Then it would have been 03 then. And their best pitcher that year was
Kevin Appier.
No. Daryl May was 10. He had 10 wins.
Wow.
Yeah, that's just something that I thought great. Kevin Appier was on the team. He was 1 and 2 that year.
He was getting old.
Yeah. Who were you asking about Jermaine Dye, just so we can knock that one?
Yeah, what year did he show up?
Friend of the program, Jermaine Dye.
White Sox hero.
01. So he was on the 02 team. 01, he came over from Kansas City.
Did he not show up last year for the celebration?
I don't think he did, because remember we talked to him over the phone. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I remember we interviewed him.
Yeah, the people that came for the ceremony were like Justice and.
When did Dye like 04, 05 go on to Chicago? When did he go to Chicago?
He was there in 05, the year they won the World Series.
Yeah.
Wow.
05.
He joined the team in 05. He won the World Series. You have a statue of Jeff Blum.
05.
Well, it's a long time ago.
Yeah.
18 years ago.
Like they start doing stuff with Masters with like Tiger Woods. You're like going, oh my God, that was that long ago.
05, I was a sophomore in high school.
05 was the year my kids were born.
Yeah, see, we're really going back.
17 years. Yeah, when the Chicago White Sox won the series was the year my twins were born. They're now juniors in high school. That's how fast things go by. All right, coming up next, he has become an absolute star. Forget ESPN. He's now on Good Morning America. Do you got the book ready to go to promote the book? Is it even out?
I thought so. But here you go. There you go. There's Hembo and Greeny right there on Good Morning America. There they are again.
Paul Hembekides, now global superstar, joins us next right here on A's Cast Live.
This is Chris Townsend. There are two things that are a must for me: comfort and style. Whether I'm playing golf, going to dinner, I've got to have the right feel. That's why I've partnered with Linksole, and you're going to love Linksole. They have just released their new spring line, new fabrics for their polos, lightweight and perfect for technical performance. Linksole also has new styles for their layers and hoodies with cool prints and seasonal colors. You know what they say in the big leagues: look good, play good. Go to linksole.com. That's linksole.com.
Chevron with Techron has unbeatable engine cleaning power, and it gives you unbeatable mileage for all kinds of unbeatable destinations, like time in the sun at the beach, or time in the sun riding roller coasters, or a day in the sun hiking mountains. Well, probably just one mountain would be enough for a day, but hiking a mountain is still an unbeatable choice for how to spend time. Download the Chevron app now to get unbeatable mileage at locations near you.
If you're looking for a new mattress, Nest Bedding has you covered. Sleep on the same mattress Hall of Famer Ricky Henderson sleeps on. Nest Bedding is the #1 brand of online mattresses and the Bay Area's favorite mattress store. Take home the Easy Breather pillow. The New York Times calls it their #1 pick. You can navigate their easy-to-use website, nestbedding.com. That's nestbedding.com. Green and Gold fans, use the coupon code Oakland and you get 10% off your entire order. Nest Bedding, love where you sleep.
Thanks to the Xfinity 10G network, my little brother's friends won't leave our house. When I was their age, internet with basically no interruptions was a pipe dream.
You sound like my grandpa.
Now through April 23rd, new customers can get 200 megabit Xfinity internet during our limited time Xfinity 10G network launch celebration for just $25 a month for 2 years. Go to Xfinity.com/10G, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today. Requires paperless billing and autopay with stored bank account. Restrictions apply. Taxes and fees extra. After promo, regular rates apply to internet service and devices. Actual speeds vary.
Hey, Billy, this deck is great for getting everyone together.
Thanks. We're really enjoying the outdoor space, especially on a day like today.
What's the material?
Humboldt Redwood from Ashby Lumber. They gave us a great deal, provided us with a quick quote, and we couldn't be happier. We even found a great contractor through their online contractor directory.
Don't miss a day outdoors. Visit Ashby Lumber in Berkeley or Concord to see our stock of naturally strong, naturally beautiful Humboldt Redwood. Find out more at ashbylumber.com for all your building needs. Ashby Lumber.
This is Chris Townsend, and if you're looking for a great place to eat and watch games, go see my friends at the Chicken Pie Shop at Walnut Creek. The Chicken Pie Shop is one of the hottest restaurants in Walnut Creek. You're not going to find a better menu, and come try their world-famous chicken pie that has been served in Southern California for 86 years. Spacious indoor and outdoor dining, perfect for your next private party or corporate event. Don't forget free parking. For more information, go to chickenpieshopwc.com. That's chickenpieshopwc.com.
Streaming from the town, A's Cast Live continues with Chris Townsend.
It looks like my Michael Jordan question is stumping people at NBC Sports California.
It's a good question.
It is. So
maybe, you know who will know? Maybe Hembo will know the answer to it.
Later today, if you're watching the A's pregame show on NBC Sports, you'll be seeing me do my little hit, Townie's Takes. And I will have well, if I tell him, then people will know the answer.
Well, yeah, you don't want to give it away then. Yeah, so don't ask.
Who cares? Do you know, Paul Hembekides, who gave up Michael Jordan's first professional hit?
Who gave up Michael Jordan's first professional hit? You know, I'm such a big baseball fan that I actually associate him much more with the Birmingham Barons than I do the Chicago Bulls. But I still don't know the answer to this question. I know Terry Francona was his manager. I know my partner at the time, Mike Greenberg, was actually by his side because he was covering Michael Jordan and the Bulls at the time. But I don't know the answer to this question. It didn't make our book, any of the chapters that Michael Jordan is occupying in our book. So I'm going to have to pass as this supposed trivia maestro on the worldwide leader in sports. What have you done?
I mean, seriously, it's not that hard.
I mean, this is something that you either know or you don't know. This is not something that you could deduce. I don't know who gave up Michael Jordan's first professional hit. It could be literally any pitcher from that time, as far as I'm concerned. I don't know.
Fact. It is Scott Emerson, pitching coach for the Oakland Athletics.
Oh, I like the hook. Good play. You know what? That's going to have to be in the sequel. That's going to be in the sequel to Got Your Number. I like it very much.
By the way, where's the suit from Good Morning America?
If I'm allowed to be honest with you, Good Morning America was fun. I don't have any more fun, however, on any show than on A's Cast Live. I had the opportunity to come on here. I had the opportunity to talk about whatever I want. I had the opportunity to talk ball as nerdy as I want. Wearing the suit was cool. My wife and a fashion major friend of hers actually went out to Men's Warehouse without me to purchase exactly what I was wearing. That's how little faith and trust she has in me and my judgment and discernment.
Ultimately, you look great.
By the way, you look great. I didn't make a fool of myself, and that's the objective here. Like, the objective here is not to find a new job. The objective here is not to do offer some profound answer that leaves the crowd stunned in silence. The objective here is not to bleep up, and I managed somehow, some way, not to bleep up.
You look drip, my friend.
Ripped, huh?
Drip.
Oh, drip. Is that what the kids are saying these days?
You're dripping, as the kids like to say. Well, that's what my kids say. So you were dripping, my friend. You look great. Got Your Number. Let's promote the book. I mean, last time we talked about it, we couldn't purchase it. Now we can purchase it. I see on Amazon, $20. I can get it delivered to the house. Got Your Number. What is the book? Why did you guys do it? And what am I getting? What am I reading when I get the book?
So first of all, I am infinitely grateful for the platform. You put me on the air way before it was cool, way before Good Morning America knew who I was, way before I was the co-author of a potential best-selling book. So you, my friend, are to thank first and foremost. If you are interested in my work, if you have ever enjoyed any stat that I have regurgitated or recited on this air, if you like my trivia questions on Get Up, if you like my commentary on ESPN Radio, I can assure you that this is the book for you. Obviously, if you are listening to this show, you're a big baseball fan, but you are also very likely a big sports fan. So let me give you the quick rundown of what we have done. This book, Got Your Number, has 100 chapters, 1 through 100. We have assigned, essentially for each chapter, who owns each number in sports, 1 through 100. So to give you a quick rundown, Babe Ruth is chapter 3. Michael Jordan is chapter 23. Wayne Gretzky is chapter 99. Jackie Robinson is chapter 42. These are obvious, right? These were super easy to pick and to wax rhapsodic about these legendary athletes. However, only 56 out of the 100 chapters are assigned or designated jersey numbers. There are 20 chapters for which we have attached records to athletes. There are 18 chapters attached to years and either teams or individual accomplishments in those years. And so it's kind of a spin-off of the idea, who is the best player to ever wear number X? That was just the very tip of the iceberg. And if you're a big baseball fan, I'll say this. I made sure baseball is properly and adequately represented in these 100 chapters. There are 20 chapters associated with baseball players. It is the second most common player type in our book. The only thing that we have more of, we have 24 football players, but we do have 20 baseball players. And if you're a fan of stats, if you're a fan of information, if you're a fan of trivia, honestly, more than anything else, if you're a fan of history, you're going to really, really like what you read in these pages. And I think that you are very likely to learn at least something in each of the 100 chapters that you read. Now, what do you think? How was that pitch? Did I do a good job of impersonating Greeny during that pitch?
Well, Mike Greenberg's a part of this.
Look, he did a really nice job in rearranging the contents of my emails and copy pasting them into the book. He did a great job with this, and he's a great pitch man.
I know who did this book, Paul.
Time out, because everyone makes that joke. I want to be honest and truthful. The best way to describe this are my numbers and his words, and the combination thereof have produced something that we're really, really excited about, because like you can tell stories in sports any number of ways. But obviously, like the sports writing tradition is something that we hold near and dear. But look, the statistics and numbers are the common language among sports fans. That is our vernacular. And so what we have done, I think, is a really clever way to kind of intersect the two, combine the two in creating a book that I think sports fans really, no matter how much you love sports, no matter how casually you might follow sports, no matter how much you know about numbers or how little you might know about numbers, I think it's going to be for you regardless of where you might fall.
So for you, like you just had twins. Now you're putting a book out. I mean, this is putting yourself out there. What was it like when you get the book and you're going on Good Morning America and everybody is now going to see this work? This is like having a third child.
Yes, I would say this book that I'm holding in my hands, at least so far, has been a lot more work than the two girls. Although my wife's going to be going off of leave sometime in May, at which point that will definitely be flipped. So I will definitely say this, though. When I held this thing in my hand for the first time, it was an incomparable feeling. Nothing compares to holding your children the moments they're born, obviously. But the ownership that I take over this and the pride with which I researched and helped write this is something that is really unlike anything that I can ever experience in my career. And you have given me, like many others now, the opportunity to talk about these things on the air. And I obviously love it. But you know me well, man. At my core, like my bones, the ethos of my career, I'm a researcher. I love the numbers. I love looking stuff up, and I love using them to tell stories. And so in that sense, it's kind of something I would consider my magnum opus. Like if you like my research, if you think the things that I say are clever or interesting or informative, I think this book is really, really going to shake you up. I think you'll like it a lot.
And on this show, you don't have to talk about LeBron, Tom Brady, or the Cowboys.
Mm-hmm. We can talk about the fact that the Rays haven't lost a game yet. You can talk about the fact that the Phillies bullpen stinks on ice. We can talk about the fact that the Angels, who knows, maybe the Angels might wind up doing something this year. I wouldn't count on it, but we can talk about whatever we want in the world of baseball. What are you waving at me there?
That's the rally monkey.
Oh, the rally monkey. That thing's really shrunk over the years. My God.
All right, let's start with this. This is something that, who knows, you may write a book about in the future. This era of baseball where the rules have changed. I mean, we're so early in this, everything's real positive, but what this could do to baseball long term. So the instant impact, what do you think?
Well, I think so far that unless you are a troglodyte and you just can't, like, you just hate change no matter what change is, it's really hard to dispute that what Major League Baseball has done here has worked like a charm. So I ran the numbers, and most recently, the average 9-inning game this year is taking 2 hours and 36 minutes. It's shaved 27 minutes a day off of your life. Now, I I am all good with the counter argument. I love baseball, and to me, more baseball is a good thing. Here's the problem. You're not getting any less baseball. You're getting nothing. You're getting less batting glove adjustment. You're getting less pitchers futzing around. You're getting less mound visits. Like, you're not missing anything. And in fact, it is my belief that the time of game is much less impactful on the product than the pace of play. Because right now, you have a ball in play every something like 3 minutes and 15 seconds. 2 years ago, it was once over every 4 minutes. Think about that. Just 2 years ago, a ball was put in play once every 4 minutes and some odd seconds. We've shaved more than 45 seconds off of that. Think about the number of batted balls in a game, the frequency with which stuff happens. That's what the point here, man. The point is stuff is happening more frequently. You're not as inclined to look down at your phone. Our attention spans have obviously shrunk because of the smartphone. Baseball is finally fielding a 21st century product, and I, for one, am here for it.
Well, and people would say to me, I don't want less baseball. I'm like, did we take innings away? Did we take outs away? We still have the exact same game. It's just faster. We haven't taken this. It was so hard for people to realize we're not taking any part of the game away. We're just doing it faster. And for some reason, some of these old writers still want to hold on to it. And they're like, oh, but what about the epic moments? I'm like, well, the biggest, most epic moments we have seen come in Super Bowls. And by the way, those are all timed.
I am sympathetic to the notion that some of these big moments in the postseason you would like to milk, you would like to let breathe, and I think
you just mentioned Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan played under a clock, and he's got the biggest moments we've ever seen.
Sure did. Like the Ohtani Trout moment in the WBC, people like to point to. What I would say is, if we lose any of that, like if we lose any of that late inning drama, any of that like tension, right? I think you more than make up for it in the fact that you're going to have younger people allowed to stay up and watch the end of World Series games for the first time in a generation. The fact that you're going to have more stuff happening and you're going to be more gripped and clutched by the action. To me, where this is going to be most magnified and most useful is actually in the postseason, because that's when the most eyeballs are going to be on it. And that's when young people are going to say to themselves, and casual fans of the sport that are just tuning in, wow, this is so much better than I remember. Over the last 5 years, the average World Series game has ended at 11:57 Eastern. That is not good enough. No. It's a completely absurd figure. We have to be done with it. What we have to do is 9 innings and 27 outs. Like you said, we're still playing. We haven't lost any baseball. We've lost a lot of nothing. And if you can find a way to get 2.5 days of your life back over the course of a season, a half an hour of your life back over the course of a single day, it's not just about the time, man. It's that the product within those 2 hours and 36 minutes has improved so much so. I think we'll continue to iron out the kinks. We'll see people like Manny Machado thrown out once a week for a little while, and people will raise a stink. But halfway through the season, you're going to wonder why we haven't been doing this for the last 20 years.
Yeah, no doubt. And the one thing that shocked me right out of the gate, and obviously this is just the first week, but looking at Babbitt, batting averages, balls put in play, it's definitely up, but it's up the most for right-handed hitters. I thought no shifting, this is going to affect the lefties, and it has, but it's also really affected the righties.
It has, and it's affected everybody. Baseball is just a better game now, and there's more singles to be had. There's more surface area to be had, regardless of how you hit. I did do an interesting study and I looked at average launch angle, and I looked at average launch angle because I wanted to ask myself, have hitters adjusted to the fact that there is no shift to contend with? The right-handed hitters have about the same launch angle year over year. So while their batting average on balls in play is higher, it's not obvious that there has been a substantial change in approach. What is fascinating is that there is a massive data shift for left-handed hitters. I thought we would see individual lefties adjust. Like some of these kind of left-handed guys would say fringe power that used to just have to swing out of their shoes because otherwise they're not going to get a single in that hole, right? It's been league-wide. The average launch angle among left-handed hitters in totality is down by more than 1 degree. Now, that might not sound like a lot, but when you're surveying an entire league, that is a massive change. Again, we're only talking about 1 week of data, but what it demonstrates to me is that hitters and their hitting coaches have said to themselves, there are more hits available. We are going to change our approach overall, and this is what you're going to love the most, my friend. It is the most pronounced. That decline in average launch angle is most pronounced with 2 strikes. We have a 2-strike approach in baseball again.
Oh,
that is not to say that I'm not kidding. That is not to say that we won't see people swinging out of their shoes and out of their butts, right, with 2 strikes.
If we talk about this, we're going to get fired in baseball. A 2-strike approach.
Look, I'm not doing an interview to be an analytics staffer right now. I'm just telling you what the data say. I'm just telling you.
If you tell me people are starting to bunt more, I'm gonna have to start sharpening my resume.
Yeah. I don't know that we're going to see many more bunts, but the fact that we're seeing left-handed hitters with 2 strikes, choke and poke, punch and Judy, have a day, kid.
Yeah, I mean, home runs still, you hit more home runs than the opposition, you win, but we're just seeing more action. You know, people forget we're in the entertainment business. We need entertainment, and watching guys just strike out and walk is boring. We're getting more entertainment.
Listen, Bill James is one of my favorites, the legendary sabermetrician, and his line I have stolen over and over and over and use it over and over and over. What he said was, baseball is meant to be enjoyed. It serves no other purpose. Let's not get too far ahead of ourselves. Let's not be grinding the StatCast data to such a degree. And look, I'm a researcher, but let's calm down a little bit. Just because we have the information doesn't mean we have to hit ourselves over the head with it. If you want to merely enjoy baseball, then the product that they are fielding right now is considerably better. And while I agree with you that the preponderance of strikeouts and walks have not necessarily helped, I don't mind there being more walks this year, which there are. Pitchers are still adjusting to the pitch clock because you know what more walks means? More walks means more base runners. You know what more base runners means? More action and more scoring. I'm here for it, man. I'm here for it.
All right, and let's look at the AL East because the Athletics were taking on the Rays. They're undefeated. And if you look at the Rays and then you look at the AL East, because after this, the A's are going to Baltimore for 4. The AL East, the entirety of the division is really interesting.
I'm fascinated by it. So we know that there's going to be the staples near or at the top. It would seem very unlikely to me that the Yankees aren't going to win 90 games because they just have the infrastructure. It seems very unlikely to me also that Toronto won't get to 90 wins because they also have the infrastructure. And I think that pitching stuff is a lot better. By the way, parenthetically, back to your brain, I think Kevin Gausman has a really good chance to win the Cy Young. He might be the most impressive pitcher that I have watched so far this season, and his peripherals are excellent. But regarding the other teams in the division, it's going to take me a little while to sell myself on Boston because despite my now obsession with Masataka Yoshida, I think there's a lot of holes on that roster, especially when it comes to the pitching staff. I think they're going to finish 5th. But the two teams you mentioned in between are fascinating. I think the Rays are really good. I mean, I think that the Rays have the chance to be the best team in that whole league. I don't know that they'll do it. But what I do know is that starting rotation, 1 through 4, is diabolical. What I do know is that Wander Franco, if he plays 150 games, is going to give you 6 or 7 more. What I do know is that in 5 of the last 6 years, the Tampa Bay Rays have had the best winning percentage across the minor leagues. That is unbelievable. If you're able to turn over your talent like that year over year, it means you're a regenerative player development machine, and that's going to manifest at the big league level. When it comes to Baltimore, I'm obsessed with Adley Rutschman. And I'm telling you, man, it is my belief, and I'm just tangenting here, but look, you gave me the floor, so this is your problem. It is my belief that having a great catcher that can do everything is more valuable right this second than it has ever been in the history of Major League Baseball. Let's consider where we are. We are operating in an ecosystem in which there's still a home plate umpire and not a machine that calls balls and strikes, which means that your blocking and especially your framing matters as much as it ever has before. Right now, the league is stealing bases at an 81% clip, and stolen bases are way up. If you have a catcher, if you have JT Realmuto, if you have Adley Rutschman, if you have Wilson Contreras, if you have fill-in-the-blank stud that can really throw, and that person can single-handedly suppress the running game, you have all of a sudden added enormous value to your pitching staff and to your defense because you're not playing ring around the rosy every time someone gets on first base. Oh, and by the way, Adley Rutschman can hit with his eyes closed. JT Realmuto stole 20 bases last year. We could be living in a world in which a catcher wins the MVP this year in large part because if you can control the running game now and do all the other stuff, how could you possibly have more value? To me, the only person in baseball that could have more value than a superstar catcher is Shohei Ohtani. He's obviously a cheat code. But look at Realmuto and look at Rutschman as two guys who, if they stay healthy, could make a real push to win MVPs of their respective leagues because catcher matters more now than it ever has in the history of the sport.
And to give you a little more info on that, like a little inside baseball, like comparing the old catchers to today's catcher, you're dealing with way more pitchers, which means you've got to know every single guy. You got to know his heartbeat. You got to know his stuff. You got to know how he plays, what makes him comfortable when he's not comfortable. Ray Fosse talked to us about when they played the Dodgers in the World Series, they only used 5 pitchers, the A's did in the 70s. Now you're dealing with so many. And how many guys are coming up and down from AAA? Rays have been the king at that. So as a catcher, you got to keep knowing everything you just said, plus I got to handle this massive staff. These are the biggest pitching staffs we've ever seen.
Yes, it's like you're asking like an elementary school teacher to teach every single class. Oh, I have to keep track of all of these kids. Oh, by the way, I'm teaching them math and English and science and history and fill in the blank. A catcher's responsibility now across the game of baseball is incredibly vast. It's why I actually like the fact that despite the fact that I think Travis d'Arnaud is a top 10 catcher, Alex Anthopoulos said, we're going to trade for Sean Murphy too, right? Because you can't have too many good players at that position. And it's so physically demanding and it's so mentally demanding. I think you make an absolutely great point. If you can thrive in every area as a catcher right now, I think you can be the most valuable player in the whole freaking league.
Now switch to the NL East. You're obviously worried about your Fighting Phils. Are you worried about the Mets? The A's are going to see the Mets right after this road trip.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to see Justin Verlander pitch. It sounds like it's going to be the end of April when he comes around. I would be a little bit worried if I were a Mets fan. Not a lot, but a little. And I'll tell you why. They have built their team around veterans. Now, that could work. It most definitely could work. But what it means is that your roster is expensive, and it means that you're likely more prone to injury. Max Scherzer has not pitched well since August of last year. That's just the truth. Max Scherzer got lit up in the playoffs last year, and so far Max Scherzer has been flat as can be this season. I mean, people are spitting on his fastball. Every single home run, he had 3 home runs in Milwaukee a couple days ago, all of them on off-speed pitches, and back-to-back at bats. Right now, he's 11th in gopher balls. Carlos Carrasco, he's 36 years old. He's their number 3 starter. His stuff is really flat. His velocity was way down. 60%. Verlander, Scherzer, and Carrasco, 60% of that starting rotation, those guys are collecting Social Security. Now, they might be great. And in a perfect world, their championship run would look something like 0-1 in Arizona with Schilling and Johnson shoving every other night, right? It's not obvious to me that's a thing in baseball anymore. And while I think they can still play, they can still go. They don't have a big bopper in that lineup aside from Pete Alonso, so they're not going to out-homer you. Their bullpen is obviously deficient now without Edwin Diaz, who's not going to throw a single pitch for them this season. I think the Braves are the runaway favorite in that division, to be honest with you. I think the Braves are going to win that division and do so in a landslide.
And your Phils?
The Phillies I'm already worried about naturally, but I'm going to do the best I can to separate my emotion from the objective half of my brain, right? The half of my brain that got me on Good Morning America today. So here's the problem with the Phillies. Why did I just say that? That was a ridiculous thing to say. So here's my problem with the Phillies.
You're like this guy right here. Look at me. I was on Good Morning America today. Not cable TV, baby. I wasn't starring on cable. I was starring on network television.
That's right. No, but there's no show better than A's Cast Live. So I'll leave you with this. The Phillies are going to be okay because the Phillies lineup is going to score runs, and Bryce Harper is going to come back way sooner than anyone realizes. The Phillies starting rotation is going to be just fine too because Aaron Nola and Zach Wheeler are 2 of the 10 best starting pitchers on the planet when they're right. And I think Taijuan Walker and Ranger Suarez are going to do a nice job at filling out the 3 and 4 spots in that rotation. It's just been a bumpy ride so far. But here is my problem with the Phillies. I was promised by all my brethren that this is going to be the best bullpen they've had since 2011. And I looked at the roster and I said to myself, how in the world are you convincing yourself of that? All right, our closer is Sir Anthony Dominguez, who has never put a full season together. They traded way too much for Gregory Soto, who walks batters for fun, like it's a hobby of his. Craig Kimbrell hasn't found the same release point in literally 5 years, and those were their 2 big offseason acquisitions in the bullpen. So I asked, the Phillies bullpen has inherited 15 base runners this season, and 12 of them have scored. It's like, what exactly are we doing here? Like, that's not the ratio we want. 42% of guys that have faced the Phillies bullpen have reached base. That is absolutely ridiculous. So, again, we're talking about a weaker sample size, and I'm not going to freak out about it, but the bullpen is like special teams in football. It's the reason you can win or lose games. And over the course of a 162-game season, it could be the reason that you fail to realize your full potential.
The book has got your number. It is fantastic. You go right now to Amazon, $20 for the hardcover, $13 for the Kindle. It will come to you right away. I just got to tell you, we're going to pump this book for you, my friend, and I'm so proud of you. We've watched your career grow. We've watched your family grow, and life is good for the man they call Hembo.
You're a good man. You were on to me way before everyone else is and was, and I will say that is something that I will never forget for as long as I live. So I appreciate the platform. I appreciate the opportunity. I hope we get to do this again sometime really soon, my friend.
I'm the Scott Boras of talent when it comes to talking baseball.
You're a good man.
Great stuff, buddy. Have a good weekend.
Bye.
Paul Hembekides, the book, Got Your Number. ESPN personality and New York Times best-selling author Mike Greenberg partners with mega producer Hembo to settle once and for all which legends flat out own which numbers. In short essays, certain to provoke debate between and amongst all generations. Greeny uses his lifetime of sports knowledge to spin yarns of the legends among the legends and tell you why some have claimed their spot in the top 100 of all time. Got Your Number. The greatest sports legends and the numbers they own. Boom. Get the book. I'm looking at it right now on Amazon. Let me tell you something about that guy. That guy is supremely talented. He has risen from, and he's still very young, he has risen from a researcher to an on-air talent to now an author, to where I know their show Get Up on ESPN that he's on with Mike Greenberg. What time is it on? It's like, I got no shot at watching it.
I think it starts at not
our time?
No, I was going to say 6 our time. So like
yeah, it's like
Eastern,
6 a.m. So
something like that.
Unless you're a morning, you're getting up and you're super early. But obviously it does very well on the East Coast, probably people in the Midwest. But on that show, once again, he's the guy that's getting all the numbers for Monday Night Football, Sunday Night Baseball, all of it. And we know that because he's told us, but we really found that out because Buster Olney, who's on Sunday Night Baseball, goes, all our stuff from Hembo. Hembo gets us all our stuff. I have a cold, so that's a very bad Buster Olney impersonation.
Your Tim Kirchin's still the best.
I talked to Hembo. But yeah, he is the fact that we get him, and yeah, we found him by listening to Buster Olney's podcast, Baseball Tonight, and realized, man, this guy is good. We got to have him on the show. And we've been having him on for years. And if people have been said, like, God, you bring this guy Hembo on. Who's Hembo? He is a star at ESPN. And now they're going to have a best-selling book, a New York Times bestseller on Good Morning America, from Good Morning America to A's Cast Live. That's when you know you've made it. Coming up next, what do we have next? Is Joyce next?
Yeah, Matt Joyce.
Matt Joyce, former A, who has now turned basically TV, radio personality, will join us right here on A's Cast Live.
This is Chris Townsend. There are two things that are a must for me: comfort and style. Whether I'm playing golf, going to dinner, I've got to have the right feel. That's why I've partnered with Linksole, and you're going to love Linksole. They have just released their new spring line, new fabrics for their polos, lightweight and perfect for technical performance. Linksole also has new styles for their layers and hoodies with cool prints and seasonal colors. You know what they say in the big leagues: look good, play good. Go to linksole.com. That's linksole.com. This is Chris Townsend, and if you're looking for a great place to eat and watch games, go see my friends at the Chicken Pie Shop at Walnut Creek. The Chicken Pie Shop is one of the hottest restaurants in Walnut Creek. You're not going to find a better menu, and come try their world-famous chicken pie that has been served in Southern California for 86 years. Spacious indoor and outdoor dining, perfect for your next private party or corporate event. Don't forget free parking. For more information, go to chickenpieshopwc.com. That's chickenpieshopwc.com.
Let's cheers to the champions. Join us for the 50th anniversary of the 1973 World Series Championship team with a pregame ceremony on Sunday, April 16th. Celebrate Gene Tennis, Vita Blue, Raleigh Fingers, and many more A's legends.
The next pitch deep to right field. It is going. It is gone. Goodbye. Two-run home run by Reggie Jackson.
Tickets are available at athletics.com/tickets. That's athletics.com/tickets.
Chevron with Techron has unbeatable engine cleaning power, and it gives you unbeatable mileage for all kinds of unbeatable destinations, like time in the sun at the beach, or time in the sun riding roller coasters, or a day in the sun hiking mountains. Well, probably just one mountain would be enough for a day, but hiking a mountain is still an unbeatable choice for how to spend time. Download the Chevron app now to get unbeatable mileage at locations near you.
Like sports, business is about winning. championship decisions are business decisions based on what it takes to help your company win. And that's why there's UBO Business Services, specializing in helping you win every day by streamlining workflows, managing documents, and providing the best-in-class office technology. Make your championship decision with UBO Business Services. Visit them at ubeo.com. That's ubeo.com.
Hey folks, Vince Cotroneo here to explain why Cinnabar Hills Golf Club on the hills of San Jose is my favorite place to play. With 27 holes to choose from, any level of player will love it. It's the best place to play in Silicon Valley. At the Turn, I've enjoyed the menu from the grill of the newly renovated restaurant, not to mention a 19th hole experience to relive the day. The expanded clubhouse will service all your needs, and best of all, you can plan any event, including weddings at Cinnabar Hills Golf Club with some of the most amazing views of the Bay Area. Visit CinnabarHills.com. That's CinnabarHills.com.
Ace fans need Friday night plans? Well, we got you covered. Get 4 tickets and parking for any Friday night game starting at just $49 with the Friday 4-pack presented by Chevrolet. Save big and enjoy great matchups, post-game fireworks and drone shows, giveaways, and more this 2023 season.
He drills one to right, way back, and no doubt, and that quickly the A's have taken the lead. Second deck.
Friday night tickets are available at athletics.com/value. That's athletics.com/value.
If you're looking for the latest green and gold gear for the 2023 season, then look no further than athletics.com/shop for your officially licensed gear. That's athletics.com/shop.
Innovation is at the core of Cal State East Bay, like at our Green Biome Institute, where faculty and students preserve genetic information from California's endangered plants, or how we open doors for local entrepreneurs at our Small Business Development Center. From educators to nurses to STEM professionals, Cal State East Bay has real impact throughout the region's neighborhoods, boardrooms, and the entire economy. Be part of the innovation. Connect with Cal State East Bay at csueastbay.edu/impact.
Is convenience a state of mind or a real thing? At Extra Mile, it's a real thing, and it's in everything they do. The stores are spacious, organized, clean, and well lit, so you can get in quickly, get what you need, and keep going. It's just what you'd expect from a place serving up the hot and fresh food and snacks you love. So treat you right, and check out Extra Mile's fresh take on the convenience store experience. Extra Mile convenience stores at select Chevron and Texaco locations.
The A's YouTube page is your go-to destination for A's video content. Get access to great highlights, exclusive behind-the-scenes content, classic games, A's Cast Live, and more. Visit youtube.com/athletics.
Streaming from the East Bay, A's Cast Live continues with Chris Townsend.
Yeah, of course, the Athletics are going to be down in Florida taking on the Tampa Bay Rays. Our next guest, you remember him back in the day playing for the Oakland Athletics. He now does television for the Tampa Bay Rays. Matt Joyce with us again. Man, it's been, I think 2018 was the last time I did an interview with you.
2018, yeah, it flies. Time flies when you're having fun, I guess. But it's been it's been a minute since I've been there.
It's great to see you. How are things down there in St. Pete?
Yeah, it's getting hotter. I'll tell you that. It's definitely getting hotter. The Rays have been hot, and then the weather's getting hotter with the team. So they've been fun to watch this first week of the season. And, it's honestly, it's kind of hard not being out there, especially with the new rules and the shift being regulated, especially as a lefty pull hitter. So, but no, we're having fun so far.
Yeah, I mean, you think about it. You played in an era where we started to see games start to take forever. Now it's 3+ hours. We're seeing 3:30. We're seeing all the shifting. So now that you're seeing it, obviously you're doing TV now, but as you mentioned, you would love to play in this game.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, from a fan standpoint, I can tell you I like the pace and I like the adjustments that they're making a lot better. It just seems like there's a better flow to the game. And there were so many times as a player and you're standing in the outfield and you're like, come on, get in the box, or, man, throw the ball already, right? And so I don't know if it's necessarily perfect, right? Like there's times where I was just speaking with Liriano before the game, and he's like, he feels a little rushed. He feels like it's a little bit too fast. Like he got jammed on a ball and his hand is still ringing and he's got to get in the box still to face to face this guy when his hand is still blown up and he can barely hold a bat. And you only get one timeout. And so, again, I don't think it's perfect, but I think it's definitely a step in the right direction for the game.
You remember those epic long games you guys would have against the Yankees or the Red Sox back in the day? They'd take forever.
Yeah, I think we had a pretty good track record against the Yankees, if I'm not mistaken. I remember one series we swept them four straight right around July 4th, and man, I tell you what, it was a fun series.
When I think about this current team, we've been watching them for years, and we've always said, and I remember talking to you about this back in the day, how the A's and the Rays are so similar on how you do things on the field and the issues that they have off the field with trying to get a new ballpark. So when you look at this success to start the season, I know it's early and everybody says it's early, but my God, how would you not want to start like this?
Yeah, no, you're spot on. And I played for both teams, played for both organizations, and how they build their teams, how they operate. Obviously they're both very analytical and trying to crunch the numbers and build from within and trade the players that just get a little bit too expensive for some top prospects to obviously help them develop and really kind of lean on their younger guys. And it's hard to argue with success, right? The Rays have had a lot of success doing it. Obviously the A's have had their good years. And so, again, if you don't have a massive market and a massive budget, this is how you have to operate. So both teams have done a great job doing that. I would love to see both of these teams, have a new home that, guys are really excited about. Because I can tell you, playing in Oakland and it was more so the facilities. They were just old. They were outdated, right? Like sometimes you would hear horror stories about the toilets backing up and just little things like that where you're like, man, like, you're supposed to be in the big leagues. You want to feel like you're playing in the big leagues, not that you're playing in single A baseball. Like you go through those ranks and you feel like you earn the right to be at the big league level and to be treated, at the top, like the top. So again, even from a Rays standpoint, as a fan growing up in Tampa, I would love to see them have a new stadium that would be over in Tampa, preferably. But again, it's sometimes it's really challenging to find the right fit, right? And there's a lot of things that go into making something like that happen. So again, it's going to be fun little series to watch and looking forward to it. I don't know what team to root for here though, so kind of pulled in two different ways.
Well, yeah, you're obviously, I know they're just doing a list. They got you down as one of the all-time great Rays, so it's going to be okay if you're pulling for the Rays. What a career you had with them. And when I think about this Rays team, we always talk so much about how creative the Rays are going to be, especially with their pitching. But right now with this starting staff, you tell that opener to stay down in the bullpen, you've got such a starting staff right there, right now. It's impressive.
Yeah, 100%. This is obviously what they build around. They build around their starting pitching, and obviously, and these guys in the back end. They count and rely on them to really slam the door shut, right? So obviously, they miss Glass now. He's out with a side injury, but they obviously have enough depth for these guys to fill in and do the job. To keep them in the game and give them another really good shot at winning a ball game. So. I feel like ever since I played there, the pitching was always the highlight. It was always the star where it was like, man, we got these guys, but look at these guys coming, And so, again, the Rays have done a phenomenal job of really building from within and getting these top prospects through big trades, and been fun to watch them develop.
When you look at Wander out there as such a young kid, just talk about how special he is, how he truly is a future star in our game.
Yeah, honestly, I was really surprised. I was still playing, and when you're playing, you're kind of focused on your own thing and doing your own thing, and then you kind of hear of Wander Franco, and this guy is 19, 20 years old, and they signed him to a big contract. And I'm like, whoa, that's a lot of money for the Rays, right? You don't see that too often, and when you see him. Not only take batting practice, but you see him throughout the game, you can tell that his skills are at a different level. And what I mean by that, his hand-eye coordination, his ability to put the bat on the ball consistently is off the charts. It's really off the charts. And I told somebody the other day, I was like, this guy can win a batting title. Like his hand-eye coordination is that good. His ability to his balance, when you look at his swing, you look at his getting to that consistent launch position over and over in the same position. He's not lunging. He's not rushed. He's not, he puts himself in really good hitting positions, and it allows his hands to work really well. His hands work really well. And so, one of the things for me, it was like, I still think he has more power that he's going to grow into. And I think he's doing a good job of doing it this year. He's using his legs a little bit more to drive the ball. But again, his hands are off the charts. That's what makes him really special.
When you start looking at the AL East, everybody's good now. Baltimore's not a slouch that everybody's going to beat up on 19 times. How do you handicap this division, what we've seen so far and what you expected going into the year?
Yeah, well, Baltimore's got some young talent. I think they still have some developing to do. But again, it's really the powerhouses. It's the guys like the Yankees. I mean, honestly, the Blue Jays are going to be a team that is going to surprise a lot of people. Although, if you watch baseball and you've seen who they have, like, they're not going to surprise you because they are stacked with guys like Bichette and Guerrero and Chapman. Obviously, you guys, I know the A's would have loved to keep him, but he's a real special talent over at third base. So they're stacked, but I think those are the two teams that the Rays are kind of eyeing to keep an eye on, where it's like, all right, this is who our real competition is going to be. And again, for me, it was always head down, take care of our own business. As long as you take care of your own business, everything else will work out and take care of itself. So as a player, I don't think they're looking at other teams worrying about them. I think they're trying to handle their own business and win here today, and obviously this series. But in the division-wise, as a fan, as an analyst, I would say those two teams really stick out in this division.
Well, not only the Rays have been winning, but they've been winning by 4 runs or more. I mean, you start out the gate, beat people by 4 runs or more, 6 straight. That's saying something about your offense.
Yeah, I think that was a big concern going into this year. These guys, had a big question mark in the playoffs. They didn't really score a lot of runs. And then everybody's like, all right, well, they got to go out and get a big left-handed bat to help them with their offense. And when they didn't do that, obviously, I think that caused a lot of concern, a lot of question marks. People were questioning a lot of the moves that they made. Obviously, their big move was signing Eflin. And obviously, man, they're firing on all cylinders. They have some guys, some young guys, and Luke Raley and Josh Lowe, who have provided that left-handed pop so far this first week of the season. And so I think, especially Raley made some really nice adjustments in his mechanics and cleaned up some stuff. He had a great spring training and is really carrying it well into the regular season, and came up with some big homers there last series against the Nationals. So, again, it's really nice when you're a hitter and you can rely. You don't have so much pressure that you are the one doing all the work. All the pressure's on you to provide the power, right? Like, these guys have like 8 different guys that have hit homers, this season. So when you're able to do that, you're able to relax a little bit and say, all right, let me just do what I can. Let me do my job. Let me get a good pitch hit. Let me square something up. I don't have to go and hit a home run. I don't have to go hit 30, 40 home runs to really carry this team. So again, that's really nice for guys like Wander. It's nice for guys like Randy, who are in the middle of the order, and obviously they have the bigger expectations. But to be able to relax and be comfortable and go to work, I think it helps throughout the lineup.
Let's end on this. You lost somebody in the Rays family, and Dave Wills was so good to us here on A's Cast Live. Always joined us, whether like this from the Trop or he would come down. We do the show on the field in Oakland. He was a friend of our program. It was just so sad when we heard the news, and I know it's got to be very tough for everybody there with the Rays family.
Yeah, it's heartbreaking, man. It's really heartbreaking, and for all of us, we never really know, when it's your last day, and you try to make the most of it. But Dave was he was a pleasure to be around. His energy and his attitude was really infectious, and obviously, to your point, man, in the Rays family, there's a little hole there that you can't really fill, and he's missed every day, and he was a big part of the organization, and obviously, you really appreciate people that enjoy their work and obviously have that kind of impact on the people around them. So he's missed a lot.
Well, I just had to say it's good to see it. It's been a while. We're happy for your success there doing the TV in Tampa, and let's do this again this season.
Let's do it. I'm in.
All right, you do well.
Okay, right. Sounds good. I'm going to go do some pre and post. So we'll see how it goes.
Take care.
Okay. All right. Thanks for having me. Talk to you.
Matt Joyce, former Athletic, and recently by the Tampa Bay Times was, I think, their all-time, they did an all-time Rays team now that they're a little bit older.
25th anniversary of the team.
And they made him the all-time right fielder for all-time Rays team.
Let me get the tweet.
I sent you the tweet.
I was going to pull it up on.
And they said, no offense. So they went, no offense to the Hall of Famers, Wade Boggs, Fred McGriff, my guy, Jose Canseco. Where is Jose? Right here. Jose's right here.
So here you go.
They went all-time Rays, guys, that because remember they flooded Vinny Castillo. Right? Vinny Castillo, Boggs, McGriff. Oh, Greg Vaughn showed up late.
Castillo or Castilla?
Vinny Castillo.
You're doing with the former Rocky, right?
Former Rocky, the third baseman.
I thought it was Castilla.
Vinny Castilla?
Yeah.
Vinny
Either way,
Castilla.
the power-hitting third baseman.
Well, did he say Franco or Franco?
Franco. Isn't it Franco?
He does their television. He said Franco. You say Franco.
Hembo said Franco, too. Let's see. Baseball Reference has it listed as Franco, like Wander Franco.
Well, two people just said Franco.
Two television people.
And every single time and you like, it's Franco, it's Franco, it's Franco. You flip out on me like Guardians Indians.
Yeah. Well, okay, here's the team from Mark Topkin of the Tampa Bay Times. Catcher, the last name's Hall. It's escaping me. Who was a Hall that played for the Rays?
When?
It just says Hall, catcher. Our good friend, Platica, Carlos Pena, first base, former A. I'm going to assume
friend of the program from MLB Network.
I'm going to assume second base isn't the great Josh Lowe, who has an 11-game hitting streak, but it's Brandon Lau, who's the second baseman. Third, shortstop.
But if you're going to home improvements, you go to Lowe's, not Lau's.
Julio Lugo at short. Evan Longoria.
Wander will have that very soon.
Yeah. Sorry, Wander's not on there. Third is Longo, Evan Longoria.
Oh, no doubt.
Left field, Carl Crawford. I remember him as a Red Sox.
Was a great Ray.
I know he was. Center field, no shock here, Kevin Kiermaier. Right field, Matt Joyce. DH, I'm going to assume that's B.J. Upton, Melvin. What is he? His name to Melvin, but B.J. Upton, Melvin Upton. And utility, former A, Ben Zobrist. So there you go.
Got to tell you, Matt Joyce, he definitely had some good years there.
Yeah, he was an all-star in 2011, I think, right?
2011. I mean, but he had years of 8+ OPS with them 1, 2, 3, 4 times. All-time right fielder. Then he came to the A's. He had some home runs, but really struggled his second year where he hit 208. He was hurt. OPS is 675, and then it was off to Atlanta after that. But good to see that he's doing well. And, yeah, he's a Tampa boy. And that's the whole thing. So picture Oakland connected to another city, but the city was bigger. And a bridge connected you. That's Tampa and St. Petersburg. And it's really hard to get with traffic and stuff from Tampa to St. Petersburg. That hurts their attendance. Tampa, obviously, the home of an NFL team, a hockey team. They do well in attendance, and everybody feels like that team should be over in Tampa. There's the dilemma. Now, they had a press conference with the St. Pete mayor and talked about redoing the whole Tropicana, which is in St. Petersburg, right on the water. And everybody saw that press conference and went, problem solved. Problem solved. They're getting a new ballpark. And the reality is that was just a press conference saying, hey, let's start talking with the mayor. And we told you they're so far behind you. And now the commissioner of baseball came out on High Heat. Do you still have that?
I have it, yep.
Where he talks about the owner is looking at multiple places to play. Where does this all sound familiar?
Hi, Tampa. Are you a proponent? A lot of people think you got to put the ballpark in Tampa for it to be successful. They want to put it right where the Trop is and sort of build around it. Are you a proponent of that? What's your take on that?
Well, I think Mr. Sternberg's latest comments made clear that he's pursuing alternatives, continues to pursue alternatives on both sides, meaning Tampa and St. Petersburg. I have every confidence that he's going to select a site and make a deal in the best location for that franchise over the long haul.
All right, so we're not necessarily then endorsing the one in St. Pete, not yet. Is that the point?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, it's not my decision at the end of the day. It really is Stu Sternberg's decision. It's the Rays' decision. But he did make clear he's continuing to pursue alternatives on both sides. And again, that's a situation that needs to be resolved in the relatively short term.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a Don Canos minute from Clorox. You mean they had a press conference and everybody was singing Kumbaya at a press Floyd Kephart moment here? And it's not guaranteed that reimagining, wherever heard that word, reimagining Tropicana, whatever the hell it's called, area, that's not going to happen now? Because I heard from multiple, that's where it's like, you know what? We don't have the biggest show. We don't. We're not national, even though that, people can watch us all over the place. But the information you get here is, to me, different than a lot of places. And a lot has to do with you. A lot has to do with me. And we research our stuff. We told you this Tampa thing's a joke. This press conference a joke. But MLB Network, even SiriusXM MLB channel, they were all talking like, things are solved. It's great. Everything's great. I heard about 2 GMs on the our Sunday show, which is so good.
What did Jim Squared, as Dallas calls it?
Jim Squared, as Dallas Braden calls it. What do they call it?
Isn't it the GM show?
The GM hour or the front office?
The front office show.
The front office show.
Really original name.
Yeah, Jim Bowden, who should know better. Former GM of 2 different teams. Jim Bowden's like, oh, well, now that Tampa, it's just Oakland's got to get their act together. You're like, Jim, you're better than that. You guys are all better than this. Just because you have oh, boy. Here's breaking news from the Masters, the biggest event going on right now.
What happened? They suspended again because of rain?
Trees have fallen. The weather's so bad. Luckily, no one's been hurt. But when you got thousands of people on the property and trees are coming down,
that's not good.
That is scary business.
Koepka still leading?
Yes, but that is scary. But yeah, it's crazy. It's literally crazy that people who are insiders in the know were all buying that this Tampa thing was done. And what was that sound that we played from you from the press conference?
Oh, have it. You want to play it again?
Where the guy, yeah, play.
Rays president
where
Brian Ault.
we laughed at this, right? This show, we laughed at this. Go.
I'm really looking forward to, for the first time since the RFP was issued, being able to sit down with the mayor and talk about how he wants this to go forward, where we're going to go, how we're going to get there, and in what order. Because there's arguments to be made for any number of steps along the way. We know we need a financing plan for the ballpark. We know we need a city council approval of a development agreement. We know we're going to need some county support. And so each of those steps can be taken in order. And I think we work on them all at the same time. But what I think you saw today was overwhelming community support for a really great vision for this city and this baseball club. And
vision.
That's exciting.
Community support and vision.
As you always say, everyone seems to be so stoked.
Oh, we're so stoked about the pitching matchup today. They got nothing. And we played that over and over going, this is nothing. They're going to now meet the mayor and see what his vision is. City council, nothing. They don't even have drawings, let alone environmental report.
We call those renderings, right? Isn't what we call them? The
Renderings.
Fancy term is renderings.
They have no business plan. How's it going to get paid for? They got nothing. They had a press conference, and everybody in baseball said, it's fixed. It's fixed. And we went, yeah, that's not how it works. They're so far behind us. It's crazy. It's crazy. And then the commissioner comes on MLB Network and goes, yeah, we're going to support whatever the owner does, and he's looking in multiple places. Where have we heard that before? Parallel pass?
Correct.
It is hard to build. Should be a lot easier to build in Florida than California. But, yeah, people were kidding themselves when they said that everything was fine in Tampa. Guess what? It's not. It's not even close. They got nothing. They literally have nothing. But they had a press conference. Just like back in the day, Don Canas of Clorox wants to save Oakland sports. Has anybody heard from Don Canas and Clorox in years? Anybody? Remember how people around us used to get fake? They got duped by press conferences. Press conferences mean absolutely nothing. But they look good. Why? Because the cameras show up, and then the local news will do a little quick hit. Hey, over here they had a thing today, and then we'll run it on shows like this. Press conferences mean absolutely nothing. And the Rays are so far behind. I was actually there with the A's at the Trop when that whole thing about Montreal came out, playing half the season in Canada. And people at the Trop were just shaking their head going, this is never going to happen. This is a joke.
It's just insane how you have to figure out the logistics of that.
Well, and it just, you've got a problem because you want to expand. You want to expand to 32 teams, and they have their one team. That one team is Nashville and Dave Stewart. Dave Stewart's group, I was just with Dave on Wednesday at NBC. Dave's group's ready to rock. When that time comes, Dave Stewart is ready to answer the bell. I mean, a lot will come out. I mean, the city council for Oakland rejected Dave Stewart. It's fact. Stu wanted to purchase Oakland's part of the Coliseum. They said no. And they gave it to the African American Sports Entertainment Group. And Stu's off to Nashville. Probably the best thing for him. But these things are so far. I mean, if you think of where we are, right? With the whole parallel pass thing, where Tampa is, St. Petersburg, man, they've got nothing right now. They at that point, they still even haven't had a meeting with the mayor about vision. Vision. What's the vision?
Yeah, they've always been behind. Now everyone's getting excited, like you said, or why I brought up that everyone in Tampa's St. Petersburg area is stoked that they had a meeting. They got a long way to go. Great baseball team, but a long way to go at the stadium. And that's why, I guess it's like we always, when you talk about the Rays and the A's, they always get tied together because of the stadiums. And hopefully we have some kind of solution soon.
Something to talk about. The first week of the season, new rules. How's it working? Well, there is a terrific article. You guys can all read it. Our buddy Mike Petriello from MLB.com. Might be good to have him on soon. Where he did the first key takeaways of this of the 2023 season. And the number one takeaway is batting average, ball put in play. So basically, taking strikeouts, home runs out of the equation and having a batting average when the ball is in play. And it's up. It's up in baseball by 14 points or 12 points. Overall baseball, 12 points. What's interesting is that we thought no shifting would automatically really dramatically affect left-handed hitters. That's not the case. It's actually, well, it has affected left-handed hitters, but it's affected right-handed hitters more. Right-handed hitters, batting average balls put in play is up 14 points. First week last year, with no shifting. How about that?
I'm looking at the leaderboard right now, and here's some of the guys in the top 4 that are leading the leaderboard. Brian Anderson of the Brewers. He's hitting 500 this year. Right-handed hitter. Matt Chapman hitting 481. Right-handed hitter.
This is batting average,
Yeah,
right?
just batting average, yeah. Adam Duvall, right-handed hitter, hitting 458. Paul Goldschmidt, right-handed hitter, hitting 450. I think Luis Ariza a switch hitter?
Yeah.
Yeah. He's hitting 444. Johan Moncada hitting 444. Then Brian Reynolds, also a switch hitter, hitting 444. So it's good to see these numbers going up.
But who would have thought it would be? We were all expecting. I mean, everything's up, right? Stolen bases are up, balls in play are up, singles are up, everything's up. Who would have thought it was right-handers out of the gate that would have the biggest benefit? But shouldn't be surprised too much, because the last 2 years is when everybody started shifting on righties too. It originally was just all on lefties, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden they started shifting on everybody. And then they just started shifting to shift. Because even like guys that we watch play every day, you're like, why are you shifting on this guy? They were just shifting to shift.
Like the guys I mentioned in the leaderboard for batting average, here's their BABIPs. Brian Anderson, 545. Matt Chapman, 591. Adam Duvall, 471. Paul Goldschmidt, 500. Yohan Moncada, 588. Nolan Gorman of the Cardinals, 625. It's pretty good.
Now, where are the lefties seeing the big increase, though? Lefties are seeing the big increase without the shift. Hembo talked about it a little bit.
Well, singles, right?
Line drives, baby. As launch angle has changed a little bit, as not everybody's just trying to lift it out of the ballpark, lefty line drives BABIP is up a lot. In last year's first week, lefty liners led to a 607 batting average ball put in play. 607. I know you're not a math major, but the first week with no shift, line drives for lefties has gone from 607 last year to 656. That's almost 50 points.
My school's called Penn West University. Math would say that that's pretty good.
That's really a change. That's unbelievable. That really is unbelievable. So you're just starting to see in the first week the massive changes. And we talked about for left-handed hitters how it just frees you up. You now you're not stepping in the box looking over there and like the whole field is tilted. That's what it had to look like. The field had tilted. Everybody's moved over. I got to the big leagues because I can rip the baseball. Not because I hit ground balls to the left side. I got to the big leagues because I hit home runs and I pull the ball and I rip it. That's how I got here. And now I'm standing up to the plate and everybody's to the right side. Well, that's not the case anymore. I wonder and that's something that we can talk to hitters about as we get later in the season, just from your eyes. How does the field look to you now? Bless you.
Thank you.
How does it look? How does it feel? I equate it to golf versus you stand up on a tee box and it's just tree-lined fairway and it looks like this versus a place that doesn't have trees and you have a big wide open fairway. Obviously, you feel like I can just grip it and rip it. No trees and I can just let it go.
Thank you, Bryson DeChambeau.
There you go. Go live tour players at the Masters.
Brooks Koepka.
That's just that, the game's changed. And like Hembo said, and like we have said, games change, but you're still getting the same baseball game. We haven't taken innings away. We haven't taken outs away. And I would say this too, because it's always like they're taking the outlier. The moment of Eck and Gibson, it's an outlier. Doesn't happen all the time. Ohtani, Trout.
The other one they've been using is Harper and Suarez last year in the postseason.
All right, those are outliers. But I'm going to say this. All the moments that you've seen that are far bigger from a standpoint of popularity, Super Bowl moments are the biggest moments in sports. Can you really argue against that?
No.
They're the most seen, most played, most replayed. It's the Super Bowl. All those moments were controlled by time. All those great Super Bowl moments had to be done by a certain amount of time. We're now all celebrating Jordan again. During COVID, we did The Last Dance. Now the movie Air is coming out. If you haven't heard, today is the 29th anniversary of when Michael Jordan played in an exhibition game at Wrigley Field against the White Sox and went 2 for 5. Well, all of Michael Jordan's greatness all happened under time, a timed game. You had to get the ball off. You had to. This wasn't the old school 4 corners Dean Smith and run out the clock. No, you got a shot clock. So to me, by the end of this season, even the old guys, I think we'll go through a World Series. We will get through it all. And it's going to be hard for someone to be really going, this is bad for the game. Because I already know, and I'll ask you, I know people who have already said, yeah, can I use your tickets during the week? I'll now go because of time.
I have had a lot of people ask. They haven't said about the time, but they just want to go because the game's more exciting.
For people I know, it's like, I'm not going to be there for 3 hours and 30 minutes, or knowing that I'm going to go there and have to leave early.
Yeah, I heard Matt on the postgame show the other day talk about how he came down from Sacramento and he was able to go and be home. He was going to be home at like 10:30.
Yeah.
I was listening the other day, 833-625-2278. Robert Costa standing by if you want to talk.
If you want to just talk to Robert Costa right now, yeah, he's standing by. Just ask Robert how he's doing.
Ace Total Access coming up.
That
soon.
was a caller from Sacramento saying, where does he say he was? He in Elk Grove?
No, he was in what city was Davis? He was in Davis.
He was going.
He was going through Davis to get to Sacramento.
Yeah, but I can't remember where he wouldn't go through Davis to go to Elk Grove. Where I can't remember.
Roseville. I don't know.
That's one of them up there.
I don't know.
El Dorado Hills.
I've only been up there a couple times, but that all sounds.
The avenues downtown of Sacramento. I've had some good times in Sac.
I think Warriors Kings play tonight, by the way.
That's a big game.
It could be a playoff series. That'd be great. It's the first time.
They've both been good, right?
Someone had the stat of.
I wouldn't say the Warriors are what we're saying is good.
A couple games. They're 4 games over. But yeah, it's like the first time in a long time. I think it might be the first time ever.
Ever. They've never been good at the same time.
They both have been this good 60-plus games into a season. Pretty remarkable.
Oh, the Warriors go up there and rip their hearts out.
No.
They can't. Warriors go up there, rip their hearts out. No light the beam tonight.
Light the beam. My Kings are taking them down. That's right. They are my Kings.
It's ridiculous. You're from outside Pittsburgh. You have nothing to do with the city of Sacramento. You have no reason at all to be a Sacramento Kings fan. Zero, zip, nada.
Didn't have a basketball team growing up.
Doesn't matter. Matter. You have no reason to be an East Coast guy and all of a sudden start claiming Kings when they're winning.
My Kings.
That's ridiculous. Seed. That is like the biggest front-running move. I mean,
you mean like how all these Warrior fans all of a sudden came out of there? They've all been here.
Oh, you know what they went through?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, you know what it was like with the Pirates losing. Warrior fans went through as much as Warrior fans respect all Warrior fans for what they went through.
I know
they have all the right to bust their gear out and love because of everything that they went through.
Yeah, they had Bobby Sura, Todd Fuller. I mean, do we have to go through the bad draft picks?
The great Florida State Seminole Bobby Sura.
Larry Hughes was a big deal.
I remember when Larry Hughes was traded. And boy, that was a big deal. Oh, my God. Bobby Rowell was the president. Oh, my God.
Who was the owner back then? Was it Chris Cohan?
Chris Cohan. It was a mess.
Saint
How about when Spree was choking Carlissimo, and next, the White House got involved? You know what Warrior fans have been through?
Now
all of a sudden you're some Sacramento Kings fan. It makes me want to puke.
That was 16 years of not being in the playoffs.
You don't even know Peja. You don't even know Chris Webber.
Peja's son's going to Stanford.
You haven't even no idea about Mike Bibby.
Basketball coach. He's how big he is
You
now, by
had
the way.
no. He's blown up.
Yeah, he's huge. Like muscle wise.
Oh,
he went from being a scrawny point guard to being like a. Let me see if I can find a picture of Mike Bibby.
Who's he coaching?
I think is it high school basketball?
Oh, he's not fat. He's gotten big.
He's gotten like buff.
Good for him. Mike Bibby, national champion at the University of Arizona. Oh, he's all swole.
Yeah, look at it. Wow. Didn't expect to hear that today. There he is.
Yeah, Mike Bibby's been hitting the gym. Good for him.
H has been kind of him. He's aged kind of well.
C Webb was a great player.
He does games on TNT now.
Yeah.
I didn't think I'd ever see him. A lot of times like really good players go to do analyst work, but he's done a nice job.
How did we even get into this basketball talk?
Oh, I don't remember.
Warriors.
Oh, it's because Matt came from Sacramento.
Oh, yeah.
So full circle, Matt made it home.
Well, I told you on opening day, I'm doing the post game show, and we're more than halfway through, and it's 10:30, and I'm like, my God, do you know how many post game shows I start at 10:30? Start, and this guy's almost all the way home. Unbelievable. I know. My wife calling me. My wife's calling me.
I was waiting for you to answer it.
It just drives me nuts. What time are we going till today?
About 2:55, so we got 15 more minutes. Ace Total Access at 3, right? 3:40, yeah. 3 o'clock, Ace Total Access.
Yeah, the other thing that we kind of mentioned, but this is still just a truism, and it's just how it works. I mean, still hitting home runs. Home runs are like the deep touchdown. Home runs are like 3-pointers. Teams out-homering their opponent in 2023 are 55-14. Is that almost like a Captain Obvious?
Yeah.
Because it's a swing of the bat and it's a run.
Yes, and if there's guys on, it could be multiple runs with a swing of a bat. I believe
home runs are good, but the problem is when that's all you do, it comes back to haunt you.
I think the Rays actually, I think I have it on here. The Rays lead baseball in home runs. The Rays have the most home runs in the American League with 13. Luke Raley is tied for the AL lead with 3. And you're going to go, who's Luke Raley? Well, he was DFA'd and he has 3 home runs, tied with Joey Gallo.
He was a guy that was out of options.
Yeah.
He was Christian Pache. They had to keep him on the roster. They'd lose him.
I think Raley's like 27.
By the way, 2023.
28.
2023 home run differentials. Dodgers plus 12. Oh, remember that Dodger lineup wasn't going to hit?
Yeah, that was in Petro's article, I think. Maybe about the Dodgers article or Dodgers lineup, and maybe people were panicking a little too soon.
Little overblown.
A little too premature. They're not going to be good anymore. Miguel Vargas has 9 walks and 18 plate appearances.
So Dodgers are plus 12, Rays are plus 11. So leading the National League and the American League. But yeah, you out-homer your opponent. You're winning at a 797 clip to start the season. 55-14. Home runs, still king.
The thing about the Rays, too, because we talked about how they lead, they also have the most runs scored and the least amount of strikeouts for hitters, and they also have the 3rd best batting average.
That's kind of odd because they've always been a high strikeout team.
Yeah, I've looked it up. They have the least amount of strikeouts in the American League.
Look at the Rays. The Rays are not bullpenning. They're not striking out. When did the Rays become a traditional baseball team built on starting pitching?
Yeah.
Making contact.
And their starting pitching has been great. Eflin.
Glasnow's hurt again.
But you have Eflin, Rasmussen, Jeffrey Springs is pitching tomorrow. And why am I blanking on their other starter that's been really good?
Did you mention Springs? It's Eflin, Springs, Rasmussen.
And the guy pitched the other day.
Well, look it up. Speaking of Eflin, this is something that the Rays are known for, kind of the Astros too, is how they change you. They bring you in and go, we've been watching you, and Cody, we think you're good at this, but we think you can be a lot better by changing.
Oh, no, I was reading about Eflin.
I know you're going to be Just get it out
Oh,
there.
McClanahan.
Okay.
He's pretty good.
So he's upped the usage of secondary pitch. So not surprising, Rays have completely altered his pitch usage. Usage of secondary pitch, while he dropped his fastball usage from 4-seam and 2-seam from last year. His combined fastball usage, see, this is the geeky stuff we do. His combined fastball usage dropped from 55.4% in 2022. This is dramatic. To 33.8. He is using the fastball, went from 55.4 to 33.8. So he is dramatically changing how much he uses his cutter, his curveball, his changeup. We're talking dramatically. His cutter last year, he used 14.8% of the time. The cutter's up to 25.7.
Yeah.
That's insane.
He's the batting average against his cutter is 200. He hasn't a lot of hit on his curveball and has a lot of hit on his changeup.
So his curveball's gone from, so his cutter's up. Curveball's going from 6.1 to 12.2. Changeup, not really up. Oh, no, excuse me. The changeup is up. Curveball's up a little bit. Changes up, slider, pretty much the same. So basically, he's just going from fastball to cutter, which is basically a fastball with a different grip.
Yeah, he's thrown his 4-seam fastball 3 times this year.
That's when you look at the really good teams in baseball, what they do is they find people and they change them. I mean, look at what Houston did with Garrett Cole. Look at what Houston did with Verlander. They brought them in and made them better.
Yeah.
They bring guys in. The Rays bring guys in, and their baseball ops team. What do we call our research guys?
Research and data.
Our R&D team, our R&D, not your D&D, your R&D teams bring these guys in and make them better. And they find out, they say, hey, we're going to change you. Here's the data that says you do this, you'll be better. You'll be a better hitter. You'll be a better player. You'll be a better all-around pitcher, you name it. And the Rays have been one of those teams that have been able to do it. And Eflin, who they brought in from the Phillies, they're seeing it right out of the gate.
Largest free agent contract ever given out, 3 years, $40 million. We mentioned that earlier. But Jeffrey Springs, who they re-signed this offseason, they give him like 6 years through $30 million, $31 million. He's been great. First start, six innings, 12 strikeouts. Travis Sawchik of The Score, who's been on the show many times, friend of the program, wrote an article about Jeffrey Springs. I started reading it and how they brought him in. And Kyle Snyder, their pitching coach, told him pretty much, you're not bad, you're just unlucky. And of course, I thought of you with all the, but they broke down all the stuff they had him work on, and he went from being a really bad reliever to
Jesus, take the wheel, take it from my hand. Because once they release that baseball, they have nothing to do with anything anymore.
And then the other guy too, Rasmussen. We saw how good Rasmussen was last year.
He's on his 8th Tommy John. How many Tommy Johns has he had?
He's having, yeah, I think he's had 2.
I think he's
former
had 2.
Former Brewer.
Well, he had the perfect game going.
Yeah.
And they're panicking because they're like, do we take him out? We got to take him out.
Well, it's like last night. I was texting last night. I went and watched the San Jose Giants start their season last night.
Oh, yeah. How about this, folks?
They lost, by the way. Fireworks, though. So it's cool to see fireworks.
Who, the San Jose Giants?
Yeah. The kid was pitching Chase Wisenhunt, I think his name was. He was one of the Giants. I think he was the Giants' second-round draft pick from this previous draft from East Carolina. He's
a college guy. He's not a high school guy.
He was pulled after 3 innings and had, what I tell you, I think it was like 35 pitches. 35 pitches he was pulled. And I was texting my buddy, he's a Giants fan. He goes, yeah, he's on a pitch count. I'm like, it's game 1.
For what?
I'm like, it's game 1 because the Fresno, the Rockies affiliate, left their starter into like the 4th, into the 5th inning. Pitch count. Are they following what the Dodgers did last year? We talked about it. The Dodgers starters averaged around like 2.7 innings per start last year. They bullpen more than anyone in baseball, not just minor league baseball, any level of baseball.
Isn't it amazing how they've gotten you to get stupider? Like your buddy going, that's a pitch count. 35 pitches?
Okay, I'll verify it.
Like for 35 pitches, You barely break a sweat. You're only going to throw 35 pitches every 5 days? I mean, what's the equivalent? Like if you're playing hockey, you don't get to play in the game. You only get to play like 2 shifts.
Ice time. There's on an ice count.
That's it. Hey, you're playing a football game. Yeah, it's like the starters in week 2 of preseason. You get 2 series and you're out.
Yeah. So
that's crazy.
The guy that pitched for the Fresno Grizzlies, the Rockies.
He's a college guy. He's had a whole routine. He's pitched a lot of innings. Pitchers need to pitch to get better.
Yes, Vargas, who pitched for Fresno, went 5 innings. He threw 69 pitches.
Okay, I can live with that. His first start. That's his first start, right?
Yeah, Wisenhunt, who pitched for the San Jose Giants, went 3 innings, only allowed 3 hits, struck out 4, threw 35 pitches, 27 for strikes.
I mean, can you imagine being a starting pitcher and who's the manager of the San Jose Giants?
That's a good question. Let's see. Pull it up right now. Ben. No, that's the general manager of the team. I'll find it for you. But 35 pitches for a kid that was in. Let me make sure he was a college kid. But my buddy told me he was a college kid.
I mean, wouldn't you be angry as a player that you only got to play in 3 innings, and now I'm going to have to sit there and watch? I mean, some of these guys are not even 5-man rotations. Can you imagine you pitch 3 innings and now you're not going to be able to pitch again? You have to sit there and watch all this baseball before you play again?
He was taken in the 65th pick in the draft last year, but it was saying something about he didn't even pitch at ECU.
And if he's coming off injury,
wasn't it stated that I guess he got suspended for drug something with positive test was some kind of thing. So I guess he didn't pitch last year.
Ooh, he's a PED guy.
He made 8 relief appearances at East Carolina in 2020 before the season was canceled. Then he was considered a top prospect for the draft. However, he served a suspension by head coach Cliff Godwin to open the season. It was later announced Wisenhunt failed a performance-enhancing drug test.
Ooh, the old PED, but he still got a nice signing bonus, right?
And he was ruled ineligible for the draft. He signed with the team for $1.87 million as a second rounder.
I mean, what do you do? I mean, what do you do if you're a minor league pitcher and you're supposedly a starter and you get to go like 2-3 innings? I mean, and then you just sit around for the next 4 days watching baseball so you can throw another 2-3 innings? I mean, at what point would you not speak up and go, this is ridiculous? It's ridiculous.
They probably have an off day too, because they usually play 6 days. Yeah. Wow.
I mean, I'm hardly playing. Like, right? I mean, do people not understand like participation? It's like you go to your job Monday through Friday and you work like 1 hour a day. I mean, you're not playing. You're not getting better. All you're doing is working out. You're getting paid to work out. Like, how are you going to impress anybody? Is it going to really impress the brass of the Giants? Hey, his 3 innings were really good. Like, that's what's going to get you going for it. Like, what is and we saw this, like you said, with the Dodgers last year. What is the strategy? What is the strategy to not play people, to hardly use them? How do you grow? How do you grow as a person? How do you get better if you're not competing? That makes sense. That's not even being an old school mentality. That's just like, how do you, it's like what they're talking about Tiger Woods, how Tiger Woods is so still banged up, he can't play. He wish he could play. I mean, you're talking about young, healthy athletes they're not allowing to play.
Yeah, the Dodgers thing last year, the Rancho Cucamonga Quakes is a team.
Rancho Cucamonga. And by the way, A-ball, well, I was talking about that with the great JK. Do you know who JK is?
Jessica Kleinschmidt.
So last year, she did know, and as a pro, just kept going after she said it and didn't ask me, and I didn't know the answer either. Is the California League back to just A ball?
Low A.
No, I think they're back to just A ball. They're not considered low. They were high A, advanced A. Then they were designated as low A. I think they may be back to just A ball. Look it up.
Well, no, on the MILB app, it says low because Lansing is the high A affiliate for us.
Yeah, but you could just be, I saw Wikipedia, I think it said, and I believe everything I read on the internet, that it's just A ball now.
Yeah, see, look, if you go through on the major minor league baseball app, it goes AAA, AA, high A, single A.
So what's single A?
So that'd be the San Jose Giants.
Yeah, I know, but I don't think they consider that low A
So
anymore.
there's just single A, and then there's high A.
It's just A ball.
Oh, interesting.
I think so.
It used to be low A.
Well, it used to be high A.
Yeah, they were. Yeah.
Which they now call it. Are they calling it high A or advanced A?
High A is
high
where
A.
Lansing plays is high A, where Stockton plays and San Jose Giants is single A.
I mean, I just can't imagine being. I want to play. Like, can you imagine not being able to do what you want to do? Like, I want to play.
Yeah, it really
That'd be frustrating as hell.
You're the first person I thought of when I saw him get taken out of the game. I didn't see any pitcher checks though, where they check the.
They didn't do any,
unless I just wasn't there. The beer batter did hit.
But
once.
that's not get off my lawn, old man, right? I'm a pitcher. I want to pitch.
Yes, I don't think
I'm a starting pitcher. I want to compete, and I want to be there for more than 3 innings. Two innings.
Let's hope. Yeah, but
how am I getting? I'm throwing more in my bullpens than I am in games.
Yeah, Rancho was like they were under 3. It was like 2.7 last year. So, all right, we're running close on time.
Rancho Cucamonga.
I'll follow them this year since I have access to those stats. I'll see what they do this year.
All right, Mark Kotze will join us on Monday from Baltimore. 3-game set, A's, Rays, and we'll have you all weekend long with A's Total Access and the A's Clubhouse Show right here on A's Cast. Congratulations to Paul Ham. How much time? Do I have time to promote the book?
You've got 30 seconds.
That doesn't give me a lot of time.
Got your number. Paul Hembekides, Mike Greenberg. They run Good Morning America today.
Get it on Amazon right now. And Matt Joyce, former A, doing TV now for the Rays, for joining us on A's Cast Live. A's Total Access next. We'll see you on Monday.
This is Chris Townsend. There are 2 things that are a must for me: comfort and style. Whether I'm playing golf, going to dinner, I've got to have the right feel. That's why I've partnered with Link Soul, and you're going to love Link Soul.